Okay, Happy New Year. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about 5 stocks that I'm going to keep an eye on going into this year and just have a game plan going into this year. I know last year I picked a few, which looking back weren't the best ideas. We'll look at my biggest loser. You can probably see by the title of this tab right here. Well, let's look at it. The biggest loser of last year, I sold puts on this stock. I got assigned them, and I'm still holding them to this day, and that is Smile Direct Club, which is not making me smile. We'll see if my smile improves this year, but so far this has been kind of a disaster for me. But I guess this is one of those learning lessons that, yeah, the premiums are great. Don't get stuck just looking at the premiums. You also have to look at the underlying company. And I guess that's where I got tripped up on. But today I want to talk about 5. And of course, my list isn't just limited to this 5. I'll probably end up selling puts on other companies. But I thought, like I said before, let's just have a game plan going into this year. Hopefully that can keep me on track. So up first, you can see right here is Tattooed Chef. I talked about this in my last video, one of the top 20 shorted stocks on MarketWatch's list. And I like their products, what I've tasted thus far, and I think they're a growing company in the future. And this will probably be one that I will end up selling puts on this year. Next up is Ford, not Forward Industries. I guess it's just F. Ford Motor, which I've been very pleased with their progress last year, and I think they have a huge 2022 to come when they launch their F-150 Lightning and whatever else they have under their sleeve. I think there's more announcements that could get us even more excited about this company. It's one of those what I thought were safer stocks to sell puts on, so I'm glad to see that in my list. And obviously, one of those companies that I've owned shares of for the last 4 years or so, and I don't mind owning more. So I'm okay with this being assigned if it ever is, and just holding on to them or selling calls if that comes to that. Next, we have a stock that I think's been pretty beaten down more than it deserves, and that is SoFi. Another growing company, I think. I think they're going to take over a lot of the online banking sector and loans, and potentially, like Robinhood did, get some of the younger audience more excited about saving and growing their wealth, potentially. So SoFi has been on a decline lately. If we look at their growth over the last year, you can see just it goes up and down, and I'm curious to see when the next time it ends up going up, like we see the last 3 times here. But that is on my list. Next is Corsair Gaming, another stock that I think that's gotten beaten down well over what it deserves. And I'm actually going to be in the market for a Corsair Gaming headset because my old computer headset is just too old and I don't think it can last much longer. So I will be one of their customers here in a bit. I've owned a bunch of their products because I like building my own PCs. I've used their cases, I've used their RAM. I think they're a solid company and definitely another one that I wouldn't mind owning more shares of if I ever get signed from selling puts. And lastly, we have Palantir, another stock that's not had the greatest year if we look back. Unless you sold in late January, early February, you're probably in the same boat as me and are down the shares that you do own. But this is one that I can see growing next year. And I think analytics and AI and predictions are all going to be the forefront of any large company. And Palantir can probably deliver the solutions that those companies need. So, and if we look, I'm just curious, I know we didn't look at the rest, but if we look at what premiums look like for Palantir, and I believe also all of these stocks that I've showed below in this list, I have this little notepad of all of them right here, but I think all of these have weekly option expiration dates, which is great because that's something I really like. I like trading weekly options, them all being weekly. As far as I remember, I think these all are, is pretty good. So let's go ahead and look at the premium of Palantir. So if we get an $18 strike, it's at $18.21 and expires at the end of this week. We get $34. So obviously this isn't advice for you to also sell puts on these companies. This may be just to get the ball rolling and think of your own list. And if you want to share your list with me down below, I would appreciate it. I'm always considering new companies to trade puts on. But this is my list. We'll see if I end up sticking to it throughout 2022 or if I end up adding stocks to this list. But as of right now, these are the 5 that I'm going to primarily focus on. And thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe. That way you can keep along with my journey. I do updates all the time on how selling puts and calls for some extra income has fared me. And if you want to see me win or lose and hopefully learn or be entertained, yeah, subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next one.